A lot of us only give a passing thought to our water. We go to a refrigerator and get filtered water, but we don't really understand how it can affect our body and our cooking. So today we have the Waterdrop reversed osmosis system. We're going to unbox this and set it up and try it out. So welcome to the Amy Learns to Cook kitchen. Today we're talking water. In the Amy Learns to Cook kitchen today, we're setting up a Waterdrop reverse osmosis system. So if you don't know, we live in the country and we have a well. We don't have city water. We have a well that's drilled on our property, and our water comes from groundwater on our property. So we're starting out with water that's coming out of the ground that only gets tested when we take it in to have it tested. So we've lived here for 2 years. We had it tested when we bought the house, and we haven't had it tested since. So when you're on a well water as opposed to city water, they're testing it all day long. Well water, they're not, right? Because you don't have a water treatment plant here on your property, right? So it's coming out, and you're sending it through maybe a whole house filter. You're sending it through a refrigerator filter. So even if you have city water, they're testing it and they're filtering it and they're getting out some of the bacteria that's going to make you sick, but they're not sending it through a reverse osmosis system. So when you test your water, you will find out that it has really high total dissolved solids in it. It has chlorine in it. It has iron in it. Our water is chock full of iron, and you can see that in our showers and our sinks because it colors, right? Even when you're on city water, they might be testing it at the treatment plant, but once it leaves that treatment plant and it goes through the sand, through the piping, by the time it gets to your house, it's going through your fire hydrant out there. It's getting funky and stinky by the time it gets to your house. We lived at the end of the street, and we would always have to have them come out and flush the fire hydrant because our water literally would start smelling like a pond. So whether you're on a well or you have city water, what comes out of your faucet and what you ultimately put in your body by just drinking it or cooking with it, that's pretty much our responsibility. They're going to deliver you water to the state standard, and hopefully that is not enough for you, because when we lived on city water, it tasted like chlorine. Now we have our own water. We have to be concerned about the quality of it, not only just drinking it, but also how it's going to affect our dishes. So you can set up like a whole house water filter, or you can set up an under the sink water filter, or you can set up one on your refrigerator. But the difference between those systems and a reverse osmosis system is this is going to get rid of so many more impurities than a simple filter. This Waterdrop system gets rid of, there's a whole list, right? So this system has been tested for NSF/ANS standards, and it also has passed SGS tests, if you know what all those testings are, to reduce 99.69% of lead, 97.3% of chrome, 95.3% of TDS, 91% of arsenic. It eliminates PFAS, PFAO, PFOS. It eliminates the iron, which we have a problem with, radium, calcium, nitrate, chloride, and radioactive substances. So these are not things that are removed at the treatment plant. These are things that you either are going to ingest or remove at your home level. So why would you put a reverse osmosis system on your counter instead of just getting a whole house one? One problem is reverse osmosis systems have so much thick filtering in them that it reduces your water pressure to the point where you can barely take a shower with it. So you really aren't going to put a whole house reverse osmosis system. So what you do is you filter when it enters your house, you reverse osmosis at your counter level. So that's what this is. This is a reverse osmosis system. We're going to be unboxing this, trying it out. This system is interesting because not only have an RO system for your water, it also has instant hot and instant refrigerator. So you can heat and cool your water right from this system. So let's get this baby out of the box. So first things first, I just want to take this opportunity to thank Waterdrop for sending this reverse osmosis system. There will be links down in the description so you can check out this system. It's pretty important that we start thinking about issues with our water and how also it can affect taste of our resulting dishes and baked goods. It's really important that we do this. So I just want to thank Waterdrop. Links will be in the description for you to take a look at this system. When you're talking about countertop reverse osmosis systems, Waterdrops are some of the best that you can buy. So thank you, Waterdrop. I really appreciate it. And thank you for allowing us to take a look at this. So let's get this out of the box. So there might be one thing you're asking. You might be saying, what's the big deal between reverse osmosis and filtered water? And I am not in any way, shape, or form an expert on water. One thing I can tell you is this. The difference between just plain filtering your water and using a reverse osmosis system is obviously what it gets out. A plain filter can only get out things that are in the water. So if there's dirt, there's sediment, there's sand, there's salts that's physically floating in the water, those get it out down to 1 micron. So if it's smaller than 1 micron, the sand, the dirt, the sediment, whatever it is, tree branches, a filter is not going to get that out. The difference between the filter and the reverse osmosis is the reverse osmosis gets all of that out, but it also gets out things that have dissolved in the water. So a filter gets out things that are like physically in the water. Reverse osmosis does that as well as get those things out that have dissolved in the water to get it out. A filter cannot take out things that have dissolved in the water. The only way you can get that out is through reverse osmosis. So you might say, oh, a filter's enough, right? Well, if it has dissolved, it ain't coming out with a filter. So you can filter out chlorine. So I'm going to bring in my water expert here.
I'm not a water expert, but I'll say one on TV. What Amy's trying to say is things like total dissolved solids, TDS. A lot of filters can't get those out. Reverse osmosis can. Think of distilled water, right? We evaporate water, we condense it, and that typically separates a lot of stuff, right? This does that without having to go through that process. This crams it through tiny holes in the membrane, okay? If you can even say that. And it gets rid of things. So things like ions.
Ooh.
Yeah, those are going to be beautiful. But things like ions, bacteria, viruses, way too small for a normal filter to get out. These bad boys can do something like that.
Okay, so here's our Waterdrop system. What's interesting about this system is instant hot and instant cold. Like Eric was saying, also, you do want some total dissolved solids in your water because it would be distilled water then, and you need those minerals. But unfortunately, there's no like federal standard about what that level should be. It shouldn't be 1,000. It shouldn't be 800 like that. That is too dangerously high, and that's around what our tap water is. So this kind of system will bring that level down.
I'm not a mover, but I'll play one, right?
Be careful, because it's going to come flying out.
It's not going to come flying out.
Okay, so this is pretty cool. This machine is amazing. Whoa. This is a serious machine. This is not your regular old sink filter. Peel off before use. Whoa, this is really, really nice. Okay, so let's see what we have over here. We have a quick installation guide. We have our instruction manual. We have their contact information and email if you have any trouble putting your system together. We have this, which is the base of our machine. This is where you're going to put whatever you're filling up with water. And it has like a little extra water catcher in case you spill. So it has these two parts in case it drips water. It will drip down in here and then you can empty that out. Ooh, it's magnetic. So it just pops in there. So that's really easy to put in and out of there because it's like magnetic. We have this little doohickey, which I'm assuming is a cleaning brush. So we have our two filters, and this is what I was talking about before. This is a pre-sediment and carbon filter. So a standard filter only gets out stuff that's floating in the water up to 1 micron. It cannot remove things that are dissolved in the water. This is what this filter does. This is a reverse osmosis filter, and it can remove things that have been dissolved in the water. This is why it's key to have one of these reverse osmosis systems. So just like every other filter that you get, we need to run some water through it. I think it's going to want to run like 3.5 gallons or so through that to prime the filters. That's pretty standard. So let's install the filters. So one of the considerations when you're using a reverse osmosis system is that when it's taking out all those total dissolved solids, it's taking a lot of essential minerals out of the water. So before you make a decision about what system you want to go with, I would check with either your doctor or the vitamins that you take, just to make sure that you're still getting the vitamin B12, the magnesium, all that you need. What I intend to use this for is mainly for cooking, because I don't want things to have off flavors, particularly with our water, because our water is very hard. So we will use it for coffee and tea because of the instant hot water, and mostly for cooking. They do sell systems that are under the counter that do have mineralizers in there. So they put back some of the minerals similar to, common bottled water where they're doing reverse osmosis. They put the minerals back in there. That's what the under the counter system does. So this on the counter system is great to clean up your water, make some teas, some coffees, use it for cooking. That's what I intend to use it for. Okay, so we have the machine here. It has 2 sections to it. You're going to lift this up, and this is your tank. There's a little handle right there. You lift the tank off. So there's two sections to this tank. It has where you put your tap water and your wastewater. One of the things with reverse osmosis is the water that is full of junk that can't be pushed through the filter comes off as wastewater, and you just dump that. With a regular filter, you drink that, right? With reverse osmosis, we're going to get rid of that. So your tap is going to go in one side and your wastewater will go into the other side. And then you just put this back on here and you're going to put the lid on. The second part of this comes off, and this is where your filters are going to go. Okay, so when you're going to place the filters in, you're going to see CF and RO. This is your reverse osmosis filter. This is your carbon filter. So all you do is you take your filter, put it in there, point this to where the unlock is, push it down, and lock it. This one, same thing. There's a little line. You put it in here where your unlock is, you push it down, and you lock it. Now your filters are loaded. Okay, so the machine's plugged in, and we're going to go ahead and do our system flushing. So all we do is hit the little water drop. And I placed a container under there, and I'm going to hit start. Do not move the container. It's going to need more water in there, probably. Okay, so now it ran that in there. Now we got to add more water so it can keep flushing the system. Okay, Eric's putting the glass in here. So basically the flushing process is done. It was flushing out 68-degree water, and the TDS, the total solids, are 27. So let's do a quick pour on here. Oh, that was 4 ounces. So here you can change the number of ounces that it pours up to a max. So we have 4 ounce, 8 ounce, 16 ounce, 20 ounce, and a max pour. You can adjust the temperature. So like I said, this system does refrigerated and heat. The refrigerated water takes about 2 hours before it starts refrigerating water. So I have my very exclusive Amy Learns to Cook cup here.
Thank you, Jeff.
And we're going to dispense 203-degree water. I can see the steam coming off of it. So we're doing the hot water, and it's currently 190, 185 to 190.
190 was the hottest I've seen it come out. That's touching the probe directly out of the filter. If I touch the cup's cooling the water down.
Okay, so I have a little water tester. We're going to test the total dissolved solids in this water. So what I have is, this is my little rinser. So this is distilled water. It shouldn't have any solids in it. And I'm going to use that for rinsing between the time that I go through these waters. If this changes off of 0, I'll dump it and put new, because that means it's contaminated with some solids. So this is our rinser. So this is water that was filtered out of the Waterdrop. So this is the machine. So I pulled water out of my tap. This is from my refrigerator's filter. This is distilled water, which should be 0 or around there. And this is Deer Park spring water. So this is bottled water. So we're going to start with the ugly first, which is my tap water. So I'm going to stick this thing in here. I'm going to turn it on, and we're going to read the total dissolved solids in my tap water. It's reading 433 parts per million. That's out of the tap. So I'm going over here, and I'm rinsing in the distilled water. So now we're going to the refrigerator. I'm just going to stick it in here and turn it on so I know it's reset. So my refrigerator's filter is 411.
Just a little below the 433?
Yeah, so it didn't filter out much of anything. So we're going to go ahead and rinse this, turn this off, turn this back on. So my distilled is 1 or 2 parts per million. So I'm going to go ahead and dump this. So let me turn this off. I'm going to rinse this back into the new distilled water, and the parts per million is 0. So now we're going, this is my control. This is the distilled water here too. This should be 0. Yeah, that's reading 0. So this is Deer Park spring water. 59. So Deer Park spring water has significantly lower, the tap was in the mid 400s, right? So my refrigerator filter didn't get rid of any of the total dissolved solids at all. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse this. And it's 0. And now we're going to go in to the Waterdrop. It's 51. So the Waterdrop, the Deer Park spring water was 59. Okay. The Waterdrop was lower than spring water, bottled spring water.
But they were claiming 30 on their display.
Yeah. So it could be, the display said like 38, and we're showing 51. And some of those contaminants could be coming from the container itself, because the container ran through my dishwasher.
But we also had 0 distilled water, though.
Yeah.
So that's the other part. Maybe the plumbing inside their thing is contaminated.
Yeah, maybe because it's a new machine. I don't know. So we're rinsing here. So, Deer Park spring water, 66. Since we're going up the chain, it doesn't really matter, right? Refrigerator.
It was 411 last
408.
Came down.
Tap water.
It was 433 last
427.
Oh, I wonder if it, as it settles.
Yeah, maybe. As it settles.
If you stir it up, it probably goes crazy. That'd be interesting.
431.
Yeah.
It went up a little bit.
It's settled.
Yeah. So as you can see, the Waterdrop was the lowest, besides distilled water, it was the lowest in total dissolved. Mm-hmm. It was lower than bottled spring water. It was so much lower than tap.
At least 10 times.
And one of the amazing things to me is our refrigerator filter is pretty much not taking out hardly any of the dissolved solids. So like we said, just regular filtering doesn't take those out of the water.
It can still clean up lead, and it still can clean up other things. It's just we have hard water.
Yeah.
And it's not doing anything.
It's not doing anything. So I think the Waterdrop is thumbs up. Okay, after all that, the bottom line is, how does the water taste? So I'm going to go ahead and put this here. So I'm going to run some cold water. There's a little purple light in there. So I'm pouring 8 ounces. I don't know how many ounces this jar is. You can just hit it to stop and swirl it like fine wine, right? So it's nice and cool. It's definitely refrigerated.
Definitely refrigerated.
It tastes good. We don't really have chlorine in our water because we have well water.
Well, it's going to taste better than tap water or refrigerator water. The question is, how's it taste against,
One of the things I can say is we normally have like a water softener, so our water tastes kind of salty, but that's gone. Very nice. I like it. I actually like it better than the bottled water. I give it my thumbs up. So, cooks, this is the Waterdrop reverse osmosis filter. The things I think that are amazing about it, it reduced that total dissolved solids from 400 in the mid 400s down to barely 50. So it reduced it by like 90%. So that's amazing. I also like that it's an instant cold and hot. So I can get nice filtered fresh water, heated for my tea in the morning. I think this thing is amazing. Cheers. I really like it. Thank you, Waterdrop, for sending this. I'll put links down in the description.